I've discussed branding and all that stuff in the past few videos, which has gotten a lot of people DMing me, asking me about how I brand my stores, how I go from dropshipping to branding, what are the steps to take to actually brand a store. So that's essentially what I'm going to talk about in this video. I created a slideshow, complete A to Z guide, like I go over everything. So we're just gonna get into my computer and I'm gonna go over the exact steps I take when I'm looking for a product, and then how I test the product, and then how I pivot and brand it, the benefits of branding and all that stuff. So before we get into it, be sure to leave a like and click subscribe. I'll also have a link in the description for my Instagram. Side note, it is like almost midnight, so if I look tired, that's why. My sleep schedule is completely thrown off, but let's get into my computer. Like I said, this is going to be how to brand your dropshipping store, pivot from dropshipping normal products that are generic to actually branding your product and doing that way. And then this is again an A to Z guide. We're gonna go through literally everything. So is dropshipping dead? No, definitely not dead at all. I get that question a lot, and even though I cover it in basically every video and say that dropshipping's not dead, that it's just getting a little bit more difficult, people still ask me, but no, it definitely is getting progressively harder, so keep that in mind. It does become a lot easier though when you do build out a brand on your Shopify store rather than selling a very generic product. What does it mean to actually brand your dropshipping store? For myself, getting custom content, custom packaging, custom shipping packaging, and all that stuff, that leads to overall like a branded website, and it gives you a good perception that you are a brand. A lot of people think it's more than this, and sure, it may be, but you can start walking before you start running. So pivoting directly from a dropshipping store to like a brand like Adidas would be difficult, but going from dropshipping generic product to getting it branded, that's a good stepping stone into moving into like custom products and stuff like that. Now, the benefits of branding: a better customer experience. Normally people like buying brands and stuff with logos on them. They feel a lot more trustworthy when they're shopping on websites that don't just sell generic products. So the customer experience is normally better. Also, for myself, with my brands, I house inventory in California and I sell to the US, so I have really fast shipping times, which leads to repeat customers. Customers don't really hate me because I'm not shipping directly from China and I don't offer like 20-day shipping. So when they get the product same week, they love me and they come back and buy more products from my site, which is really good. And then my website always stands out because I have custom content and everything like that. Another benefit is your profit margins increase dramatically when you order the product in bulk and get it branded. Just because you're, again, going directly to the supplier, ordering large quantities, you get really good pricing, and then also you can save money on shipping. Another benefit, you have an edge over your competitors because most competitors are still dropshipping from China and it's normally the generic product. So they don't really have that feel that it is a brand and that people are actually buying a brand, which leads customers to potentially looking into buying the same product from a brand, which is where you come in. Even though you guys are probably going to be selling the same product, yours is going to look branded, and customers like that a lot more. Now, the budget needed. A lot of people think when you're starting a brand or you want to move into branding, you need a lot of money. I've done this with a few $1,000s. I did this at the beginning of this year with like a few grand, and I started a new brand and it's working really well. I did it again in June. I gave myself like a $3,000 or $4,000 budget, and I've built that store up. In the first 60 days, I did, I believe, $300,000 profit, which was amazing. And that was all with like $3,000 or maybe $3,500. So you don't need a crazy big budget, but you do have to be strategic with how you start the store, because the first few days or like few weeks, that's kind of the crucial part. And I'll discuss all of that in this video, so just sit tight. But for myself, I recommend testing with dropshipping. A lot of people don't have the budget to order inventory and test with inventory. For myself, I don't test with dropshipping. I just order the product in small quantities, test it out on Facebook, and then if the product works, I'll order a big batch and go from there. Now, once the product is proven and identified as a winner, then you will look into branding the product. This is just an overview. We will get in depth in all of these slides, so just sit tight. So the first one, identifying a winner. Before you ever think of branding a product or anything like that, you need to identify that it is a winner. You never want to brand a product and then have it die off next month. That's not fun at all. So identifying that the product is a winner, it's very important. And for myself, I personally sell untapped products. That's just what I have been finding a lot of success with in 2020. It works really well, and when you have an untapped product, it makes everything a lot easier. Facebook ads, selling the product, like setting up the website, everything along those lines, it gets really easy because you're not competing with a ton of people. For myself, if I see like 10 to 20 websites and no more than that selling the product, I probably have a good chance at still hopping into it and dominating the market. And if no one's branded the product, then I will probably sell it. I made a video a few days ago talking about that. If you guys want to check that out, it's on my channel. It's like how to find winning products or something like that. I personally use Shopify. That's basically like an ad tool that pulls all of Facebook's active and inactive ads and then gives it to you on a website, so you can easily search through and find like what products are being ran, and then look up the product on the website and find what other ads are being ran for the product. So it's really easy to see how many people are selling the same product. For myself, I personally don't ever want to sell a product and brand it if it's already been branded and scaled by someone else. There are a lot of posture corrector products and stuff along those lines that have already been tested, branded, and scaled to 6, 7, probably even 8 figures by other dropshippers and other e-com people, which doesn't make it an attractive market for myself. I don't want to get into any markets that have already been used up. That's just not something I'm into because I probably wouldn't profit a whole lot. So I always look for products that haven't really been branded or scaled by many people, because then I can, again, just hop in and dominate. Something else you need to keep in mind is product longevity. You always want to look for products that you can sell for as long as possible, 6 months to a year plus. Try not to sell any trendy products like Halloween products or Christmas products or anything quick like that, because you will be very limited as to when and how you can scale, just because shipping times are of the essence for those types of holiday products. So I normally don't really even run them, but just keep that in mind when you're looking for a product you want to brand. Now, understand it may be difficult to actually find the untapped product, but it normally is worth it like 99% of the time, just because you don't have a whole lot of people to compete with on Facebook. So cost per purchases, you get really cheap cost per purchases. Your ROAS is normally through the roof, and it's just a whole lot easier to run ads when there's not hundreds of people competing to sell the same product. For myself, when I'm looking to sell a product, I normally want to keep my break-even ROAS at 1.5 or below that, sometimes lower, sometimes like 1.2, 1.3. But 1.5 is good because if you have a 3 ROAS, you're still pretty profitable. So keep that in mind when you're also finding products. Once you think you have a product, you still need to test it out and verify that it is a winner, because the last thing you want is to think you have a winner, order it in bulk, and then it doesn't work well. So for myself, I would suggest you guys run Facebook ads for that, and there's a very easy way to do that. You can just set up one campaign, 10 ad sets, one interest each ad set. You can do either ad set budget or CBO. If you want to do ad set budget, $5 a day per ad set, totaling out to $50 daily spend. Audience size 2 mil plus. I personally do US only. And then you can also do a CBO instead of the ad set budget optimization, and then just do a $50 a day CBO with half of the $50 daily spend, and then divide that number by the ad sets, and that gets you half of your overall daily spend delegated out towards minimum spend for each ad set. If you guys don't know what that means, basically it's like giving each ad set at least $2.50 spend per day, and then allowing the other $25 on the campaign to freely spend, so Facebook can spend it wherever the hell they want. I just like doing that because sometimes Facebook doesn't give an ad set like any money, so you always want them to have a chance so that you can see which ones are going to perform well. And then for myself, when an ad set has 3+ purchases with a 3+ ROAS, that's when I'll start scaling it onto a new campaign. I'll make another video on scaling Facebook ads because that's probably gonna be another 20 to 30 minutes, but that's a very easy way to actually test a product and verify if it is a winner. Now, when you're doing $5 a day ad sets, understand it's not gonna be something where in 1 or 2 days you have tons of winning ad sets. It might take you a few days to a week to actually identify them, but it is very efficient and easy to do. You basically just do that and rinse and repeat until you have data, and then you move into LLAs, and then eventually you're at a lot of daily spend on Facebook. Like, it's not too complex, especially when you have an untapped product. You can really run horrible Facebook ads and still get a crazy ROAS, which is pretty crazy to say, because everyone thinks like a 3 ROAS is amazing. When I started testing a product, I was at over a 10 ROAS, and I was running the most basic Facebook ad. So always keep that in mind. When you are looking for a product, you need to find an untapped one if you are looking to get those crazy results. Now, before you brand a product, you need to make sure that it can be scaled. So for myself, I would suggest you guys try to get it up to $1,000 daily revenue profitably, and then if possible more than that. This period is basically where you're trying to just build up as much capital as possible so that you can then go ahead and dump that into inventory and custom content, and then completely wipe out your competitors. And in order to do that, you need capital, because that's what it takes to actually invest into inventory and custom content. Fiverr is probably the easiest place to go ahead and look for custom content. There are a lot of people who will do product reviews and then product photos. If it's clothing, they'll take a picture with the clothing on and do tons of cool stuff like that. So there's a lot of people on Fiverr. Kind of whatever you need for content, you can go on there and search. I'm not sponsored by Fiverr. I probably should be because I mention them often, but it's just super easy to find freelancers for content. Again, the purpose of this is to just verify that the product doesn't burn out too soon. Everyone's nightmare is to like have ordered inventory and get custom content, and then a month down the line or 2 months later, the product just dies down and you're stuck with inventory and all this custom content that you spent a lot of money on, but then you have really nothing to use it for. So that's why you need to spend a lot of time in this stage to actually verify that the product wins before you go ahead and start branding the product. Once the product has been verified, this is where we start moving into chatting with suppliers on Alibaba and getting pricing and all that stuff. And I have a slide for that, so sit tight because that will be a pretty dense one. A lot of people don't know exactly what to do with talking to suppliers, so I've got you there. For myself, branding includes ordering the product in bulk and housing it either in a 3PL, which is a third-party logistics. Basically, it's a company that houses your inventory, and then they have staff that package the inventory and ship it out, or package the orders and ship them out, and then they just charge you a fee per order or per month, whatever the case may be. Some people have different pricing, but you can do that, or you can ship out the goods yourself or rent out a space and hire people to fulfill the orders for you. I'll go over that as well in another slide because that will require probably a little more time than just a brief overview. So contacting the suppliers. For myself, I source directly on Alibaba. It's easy to chat with a lot of different suppliers for the same product and kind of figure out which one will give you the best offer and the best treatment. Understand you'll be talking with these suppliers pretty often, and some can be very rude, so just keep that in mind when you're actually talking with them and verify that they will give you the proper service, because some don't give you the time of day, and I've had that happen, and then I just kind of tell them screw off and use another supplier because I will probably spend like multi six figures with them, and I want to make sure that they respect myself, and if they don't, then I really don't want to work with them. Now for myself, I always stick with suppliers that have been on Alibaba for at least a few years. That's just my personal preference. Another way to check is go on their ratings and all of their transactions and stuff on their accounts. You can just go on the Alibaba website and then type in a product, click the listing, and then go and look on the seller and see what they're all about. Most of the time, you're not really going to get scammed or anything on Alibaba, but rather be safe and work with a supplier that is actually legitimate and has been around for quite some time, rather than working with a brand new one. Now for myself, I always try to create a game plan for my target cost of goods and see how low I can get the price down for the product that I'm trying to buy. One thing I do when contacting the suppliers, I always include the revenue that I'm doing for whatever product I'm selling. So if I'm doing like a few grand per day, I'll tell them and I'll be like, look, I'm doing this per day and I'm looking to order this many units, blah, blah, blah. I basically want to just let them know that it will be beneficial for them if they want to help me out and maybe give me better pricing, that I will bring them a lot of business and do a lot of orders with them. Sometimes they'll give you better pricing and look at it as like an investment in a long-term relationship, which that's kind of what you want to find. Suppliers like that do exist. You just have to do some digging and talk with them and build up a relationship with one. Again, they are the make or break of your business. If they don't supply you with proper goods, you can't really sell a product to a consumer if the quality is not there. Now when talking to suppliers, you need to ask them what the MOQ is for custom packaged goods and custom logo on the product. MOQ, minimum order quantity, sometimes it's 100, sometimes it's 500, sometimes it's 1,000, sometimes it's 10,000, it just depends. So always talk to them and figure that out. If you contact 5 to 10 suppliers for the product, that should be good, and then just figure out which one works best for you. That again should be good. You don't have to go crazy with it. Now that may sound like a lot, but some may not treat you properly, so 5 to 10 will give you good odds to actually find a great supplier for you. And then when getting custom packaging for your product, like the box and all that stuff, you can just go on Fiverr and type in like custom box design or custom product packaging, something like that, and then they will come up. So that's pretty easy as well, and I think it only costs like $30 or $40, so it's not too expensive. Custom packaging sets you apart quite a bit, so definitely worth it. Step 4 is order fulfillment. So you guys can look into third-party logistics like Shipmonk or ShipBob for your order fulfillment. Personally, I've never used any of them. I don't really use 3PLs. I house all of my inventory in my own facility and then have people hired to actually fulfill the orders. It saves me money, and I'm able to actually manage all the inventory and make sure I know what's going to my customers, when it's getting sent out, and all of that stuff. I don't really like the thought of having my inventory be somewhere else that isn't my own place, that I can't go ahead and look at and like control it if I want, if you guys get what I'm saying. So I personally, again, don't use 3PLs. Keep in mind, I started by just ordering the product in bulk, housing it at my house, and printing labels in this very room that I'm in, and then packaging the product up and shipping it out myself. So if you guys don't want to store the inventory at your house, or you don't want to use a 3PL, you can also look into a storage unit. Those are really cheap and they do get the job done. They're usually like 10 by 10 or 10 by 20 or like 20 by 20, which is a good amount of space, especially if your product is small. So definitely look into that if you don't want to store inventory at your house. I also recommend you guys get a thermal label printer. They have, like, you don't need to put any ink in, so those are pretty dope. Understand 3PLs normally charge like $1 to $3 per pick and pack, so per like order to literally just pick it up, so pick up the product and package it, not even the actual shipping label cost. So that does get kind of pricey, which is why I don't personally use 3PLs, but to each their own. If that's affordable to you guys, then definitely look into them. Step 5 is product expansion. So this is where you're starting to build out your brand and look into selling more products. It's very easy to do, and this will add a lot of revenue to your store because you can normally sell these products to existing customers, since the customers usually don't hate you since you have fast shipping times if you've done it properly. And you can also sell these products to new customers that just land on your website and look around. For myself, all I do is just contact the supplier I'm currently working with, say like, yo, I need more products to sell, or I need other similar products or congruent products. And then normally they'll just give me like some other products and I will pick one. That's basically it. It's very simple, and you don't even need to run ads for these products. You can, again, just put them on your website, and if people are coming onto your site, they may buy the product. I did it this year and I think I've generated like 200K just off of products that I've expanded onto and haven't even ran ads for. So definitely don't overlook this step because you can make quite a bit of money without really having much risk for doing this. People like having options at the end of the day, so if you do have more products to pick from, that's always a good thing. And then this also can help you with your average order value, so if you add it as a pre-purchase upsell, you can get your average order value up for this. Step 6 is optional, but I still wanted to include this in the video. Brands become a lot more valuable than dropshipping stores because of your loyal customer base, which normally leads to a higher worth of your brand. If this is the route you want to go, maybe you build up a brand for 6 months to a year, you can then go on Flippa or the Shopify exchange and sell your website for multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, depending on your revenue. I know the goal may not be to actually sell your store, but this is, again, always an option for you guys, and it's an easy way to liquidate your assets, sell your store, and then take the money and move into another project, another product. Or if you want to get out of e-com and do something else like stocks or real estate, you can do that and just exit your store, make a lot of money, and then go move the money into another industry. That is something that is doable, and if you put in work for the next 6 months to a year, build up a brand, and then exit, it's again, definitely doable. So that's basically it for going from dropshipping to branding, how to actually go ahead and brand a store, my complete guide. Hopefully you guys got massive value from this. It took a lot of time to put this slideshow together, so if you guys could leave a like and click subscribe if you have not already. And if you guys have any comments, questions, or recommendations, leave those in the comment section below. I know I mentioned this earlier, but it is kind of late, so sorry if I wasn't the most energetic, but again, hopefully you guys did enjoy. And then if you guys also want to follow me on Instagram, I'll have a link in the description for that. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.